Hey, hey. Well, I don't know. We've been talking about the CRC, we've been talking about the draft constitution, and I think we're all happy that Gambia is going to change its constitution. And basically, a constitution is nothing but a document that binds people together who want to live together collectively as an entity. And the expectation of these people is living in harmony, coexisting in harmony, and making sure that the core ideals we share are ideals that are going to propagate the interests of the greater good. The word secularism, I think, has been misconstrued. The word secularism, I believe, has been prostituted by people who have ulterior motives. Gambia, for the longest of time, has been a tolerant society where the likes of Nyang were able to go to a school that's owned by the Methodists. I went to a school, going to church, singing choir hymns, doing Christmas carols, and even spending, after school with people like the Mrs. Gibsons, the people like the Mrs. Forbes. That's the tolerant Gambia we all grew up in. I think Gambians must be very grateful that the church educated a quarter of this country's elite today. Be it the Wesley School, be it St. Mary's, be it St. Joseph's, be it St. Augustine's, be it Methodist Prep. We should be and must be grateful to the church. And I think if the church was intolerant, most of us would not have gone to their schools because we were people of different faiths. So if we have a constitution today, it's the responsibility of the majority to make sure that they provide a comfort for the minority, considering our not too distant past. We all saw what happened during Yahya Jammeh days when he turned the Gambia into an Islamic republic overnight, and civil servants were forced to wear veils, including Christians, and there was nothing to protect them. And who say that Gambia in the next 20, 30, 40, 100 years will not have another crazy fool like Yahya Jammeh? The only way we can avoid that is to make sure we protect the interests of the minority. And the best way to protect them is to explicitly, not implicitly, but explicitly put a statement that Gambia is a secular sovereign republic. It's not costing none of us a dime. It's not costing us a penny, but it's going to make our social cohabitation better. It's going to make our lives and livelihoods collectively as Gambians more cohesive. I don't know about other Gambians, but I know about myself. I am very grateful to the church for according me an education then at Methodist school that has made me who I am today. That's number one. Number two, most of us, we have families of different faiths. My own auntie, Mary Langley, Njie, a Christian. And I can count many more who are non-Muslims, yet still we share the same blood or blood ties. What binds us together as Gambians is not our faith, it's our nationality. And because of this, we should make sure we put religion out of the equation of our Gambianness and the core ideals that bind us together collectively. But it takes cooler heads. It takes people with great minds. It takes people who are tolerant and exposed. I think this conversation we're having today about secularism or not boils down to the arrogance and ignorance of some people within our religious circles, especially the Islamic faith. And it's very unfortunate that we cannot see ourselves outside of the prisms we look at. What we share together is a country. And if we're doing a fraction, that's the least denominator we can divide ourselves in. Our constitution is indifferent to our religious orientation. Our constitution doesn't care who is a Muslim or not. Our constitution cares and guarantees rights to Gambians. And in so doing, it's not looking at who is a Muslim or not. Even the Bible acknowledges the state. And that's why it's stated, give unto Caesar what is due to Caesar. That in itself acknowledges the presence of the state. And no one has a problem with that. The issue we are having today, I really believe that most, Muslims tend to talk about Islamophobia. But let's now reverse it. The way some of our clerics are thinking, I think, is not Christianophobia, but very intolerant to divergent religions. We, the people of this country, want to be seen and identified as Gambians. We don't want to be identified further as Fullers. We don't want to be identified further as Mandinkas. We don't want to be identified further as Catholics, Christian, Presbyterians, Ahmadiyyas, Muslims, Tijaniyas, Nyasen, Murid. We don't care about those nomenclatures. All that we care about is our nationality. And our nationality is very mute on religion. So why should we make an issue out of nothing? I heard the other day a very renowned cleric in this country making me, Nyang, an issue in his sermon to the point he was crying. For crying out loud. I am no Muslim. I am no more a Muslim than him, and he is no more of a Muslim than me. But my religion, I keep it to myself. It should not be a symbol of the state, and it should not be something that represents the core ideals of the state, in as much as the state respect my religion, in as much as the state gives me the space. That's why we have holidays, religious holidays, be it Tobaski, Korite, you name it. But in as much as we have these, we should not, once again, we are a majority in this country. But that majority is not something we need to manifest. That majority is not something we need to show or exhibit. Gambia is for Gambians, and when the Constitution talks about Gambians, that's the least it has defragmented us. They're not looking at who is a Murid, who is a Tijani, who is a Methodist, who is a Presbyterian, who is an Anglican. Our Constitution cares less. And what really disturbs me, 1940 Gambia, 1960 Gambia, 1970 Gambia was more tolerant than 2019-20. I believe that the more we are educated, the more we are exposed, the more tolerant we should be collectively as a society. But no, unfortunately, education hasn't helped. Education has confused the Gambian. The new Gambian is very confused with ideology, confused with identity, and confused with orientation. And these three things are burning and eating our collective resolve as a people, because the strength of the Gambia is a strength of numbers, us coming together as one entity called Gambians, not multiple entities within our nationality. Let's look at ourselves as Gambians, think as Gambians. And I ask my Muslim brothers and sisters, what would Gambia be then if the St. Joseph schools were not around, the St. Augustine's schools were not around. The St. Peter's were not around. The Wesley School wasn't around. Albion wasn't around. St. Mary's wasn't around. Methodist wasn't around. Hey, most of us today touting and talking, beating our chest about not wanting the word secular to be added onto our constitution. We would not have been here being able to read A, B, C, or D. And it's the church that gave most of us that opportunity. And when the church gave us that opportunity, they never frowned on our Muslim faith. They never frowned on us being Muslim, but they embraced us because they saw humanity and they saw Gambians. To whom much is given, much is expected. And I hope the people who are beating their chests, not wanting the constitution to change, are very shallow and myopic in their thinking. A majority must always comfort a minority, especially if you have people like Yahya Jammeh. Who said that we will not have another dumbass president like Yahya Jammeh? Who said we're not going to have another despot or tyrant like Yahya Jammeh? This is why we want the constitution to be very explicit in the understanding of what Gambia is and what Gambia is all about. It's not costing no one's father, no one's money, no one's time to say Gambia is a secular sovereign republic. That closes the doors for any interpretation. That closes the door for any despot tomorrow to come out and say otherwise. Love thyself, love thy neighbors as you love yourself. And if you love your neighbors, you will give them that comfort. Once you give them that comfort, I think we will all live in harmony. I support the position taken in the past by Honorable Njie that Gambia must not support and promote the construction of mosques in our public spaces. I've said this a long time ago, over a year and a half ago, and I will say it again. I am a Muslim, but not all tax-paying Gambians are Muslim. Therefore, no other tax-paying Gambians' money must go into the maintenance. Even if these mosques are given to us free of charge, it should not go into the maintenance and upkeep of this mosque. It's called respect. The state house that we collectively own must have a prayer room, but not a church, a synagogue, or a mosque. It must have a prayer room, because Gambians are people of different faiths. Let's have a prayer room at the State House and not a mosque. Because tomorrow, if we happen to have, let's say, Dominic Mendy of Citizen Alliance to be a president of this republic, will you want him to put a mosque in the State House? The answer, a church in the State House. The answer is a flat out no. So who the hell are we to think that we reign supreme over other Gambians who have an equal right of nationality to the Gambia like us? I think it's the insensitivity of the majority that is prolonging this debate. And the majority must come out and say, we are going to comfort the minority. And these minorities are our brothers and sisters. Like I said, my aunts, my uncles are people of other faiths. Mary Langley, Njie, is my bona fide aunt. She is a non-Muslim, and I love her, and I respect her, and I respect her religion and her rights. Therefore, what binds us together collectively is called the Gambia, and we should stop at our nationality and forget about who is a Christian or not. My brother and friend watching right now, Sajah Sise from Atlanta, was raised by Christians, and they took good care of him. But yet still he is a Muslim today, and he was a Muslim then, and they respected his faith. So who the hell are we not to give people what is theirs. Nyaka help, gotta help is becoming a problem in this country. And you believe and want to think that education is making Gambians to think otherwise. No. Education is making us more intolerant and more confused. Because I am reading posts by so-called educated Gambians. I use the word so-called because their education is not helping the greater good. It is dividing the greater good. And that's not the education we want. And that's not the essence of education. Education is to broaden the scope of the human being and make the human being a more tolerant, inclusive, and not a self-serving individual, but a selfless individual that looks at the interests of the greater good of society. That's what education must accord an individual. But what I am seeing today in this country is troubling, to say the least. We should not wait for our brothers and sisters from the other faiths to come to us and ask us their fair share of this republic. We should accord it to them like good citizens of this country. I would not have been a Njie hadn't it been for the Methodist Church. My sister would not have been a Fatunjai hadn't it been for the Methodist Church. Mr. Fowlis, Christian, played a big role in my formation. Mrs. Gibson, Christian, played a big role in my formation. Mr. Tebbs, Mr. Warner, Mrs. Peacock. These are people who made me, not Muslims. They made me, and they never convinced me otherwise. So, where is gratitude in the Gambian? Who are we? You know, it's mind-boggling that the new Gambian is very intolerant. It's mind-boggling that the new Gambian is very ignorant. It's mind-boggling that the new Gambian is very arrogant. But this is all coming because of our lack of orientation, exposure, and good education. Because, I'm sorry, if we are properly educated, we will be tolerant. Gambia is for Gambians, not Muslims or Christians. Gambia doesn't give our country, I'm sorry for my language, doesn't give a hoot what we are in terms of our religious faith. All it cares about is what binds us together collectively as Gambians. And I often wonder, are we heading in the right path? My answer is no, because we're allowing a segment of society to make us have a lost narrative. We want the narrative not to be religious based. We want this narrative to be nationally based. And that should be our flaw. Our nationality should be our flaw. Your religion is your problem. My religion is my problem. So long as the state respects the existence of my religion, who cares about the rest? Who should and why should we care about the rest? Nyang knows the Bible as much as he knows the Quran, because I went to school and lived with Christians. I used to go and do Easter carols. I used to do Christmas carols, Silent Night, Holy Night, you name it. You know, what's wrong with us? And that is what we want. That's the Gambia we need to bring about. A Gambia that is tolerant, a Gambia that is diverse, a Gambia that is sensitive towards the plight of a minority. We should never be having a discussion to the point the church has to come out and ask for their fair share of this country. It's a shame. It's a shame that the church has to come out and ask. We want to be protected, and the protection will only be accorded to us if the word secular is added. Nyaka hel rawut lolu. Like I said, kuñ jox yépp doo jël yépp. Why us, the Muslims of this country, ñu ngee door di gàtt xel mënuloo dëkkaan nit nag gën laa gore. The minority are being more gracious than us, and we should not allow that, because the moment we allow that, it shows the wrong side of who we are, and that's not who we are. We are great people, we're good people, we're God-fearing people, and we love humanity. But we should not allow the religious extremists in our midst to dictate this narrative. This narrative must be directed by well-meaning Gambians who see their fellow Gambians as their brothers and sisters. And when I say to see them, we don't have a problem with them, but we should make sure that the Gambia we live respects and guarantees their right to express themselves the way they want to. Because the reason why I'm saying this, what does it cost any Muslim in this country to state that the Gambia is a secular sovereign republic? It doesn't cost us nothing. And I don't think our Christian brothers and sisters even have a problem with us having Qadi courts paid for by the state. They have never complained from independence to date. So what is wrong with us giving them? They have given us something. What they gave us is to allow our tax-paying Dalasses. Yes, they pay taxes, just like Ibu. John Sok, Mary Decker pays taxes just like Ibu Fofana and Aissatou Touré pays taxes. And part of their taxes are paying for the Qadis who are administering our marriages, divorce, you name it. And they don't have a problem with this from independence to date. So why should we not reciprocate that kindness they have done to us over the years, to give them that comfort that will give them respite and let them go on with their lives and not worry that tomorrow another non-entity of a despot like Yahya Jammeh will come and want to transform this country into an Islamic republic or otherwise. So we must all, as Gambians, accommodate this minority called Christians, because we all know we form over 88% of this population. So the Christians are nothing more than 12 to 13% of our population. Therefore, we are duty bound to be our brothers and sisters keepers by giving them that comfort. All they ask of us is a comfort. And a comfort is to allow them to sleep in peace, knowing that the arrangement we have that bind us together as Gambians is cast in stone and will never shift or change. That's not asking for too much. That's not asking for too much, my fellow brothers and sisters. Let us not allow ourselves to be controlled by these religious fanatics and extremists. Gambia is not for Muslims. Gambia is not for Christians. Gambia is not for agnostics. Gambia is for Gambians, period. And the constitution that binds us collectively doesn't care who is a Muslim, doesn't care who is a Christian, doesn't care who is an agnostic or otherwise. All it cares about is our Gambian identity, and that's where it stops. We've never had a society that thought along those lines. The faithful amongst us, when I say faithful, I'm talking about our imams of old. Their sons and daughters went to St. Augustine's and none of them cared. And they knew St. Augustine even had a church inside its premise. They didn't care. All they wanted were for their kids to have good education. They knew that their kids went to Wesley and Methodist. They didn't care. And even St. Mary's, and at St. Mary's people used to go to the Catholic Church along Independence Drive going towards Quadrangle, and nobody cared. ñu ngee ñàkk si kóolare And nyako kolere can be translated to ingratitude. Let us be gracious to a minority that helped most of us to have a decent education that has made us who we are today. Like I said, to whom much is given, equally much is expected. We must all stand up and fight this together with our Christian brothers and sisters to make sure that our constitution says that Gambia is a secular sovereign republic. We owe it to them. The reason why we owe it to them, when our eyes were closed, they opened it because they allowed us to come to their schools and learn. Methodist never closed its doors to a Muslim child, and Methodist never forced a Muslim child to go to church. So today, if our Christian brothers and sisters are asking us, the majority, to provide them with a comfort, no questions should be asked unless we have ulterior motives. And I don't think none of us have an ulterior motive. So why should we not add that little word, Gambia is a secular, sovereign republic, onto our constitution? That's good neighborliness. That's taking care of the next Gambian. And taking care of the next Gambian is duty bound. We all must be duty bound to make sure that the next Gambian sleep in peace, knowing that his or her beliefs are not endangered. And yes, not too long ago, 2014, 2015, the lives and livelihood of certain groups of society, especially the Christian community in this country, has been endangered. Endangered by who? A despot president who turned Gambia into an Islamic republic overnight. Civil servants that were non-Muslims were forced to put on veils. That is wrong. Make Friday a public holiday. That was wrong. And Sunday was a day that people go to church. It was not a public holiday, but it was a rest day. But like I said, we need to be tolerant. And I don't think the majority of Gambians are intolerant. I think we're allowing a minority to put pressure on us to do what is not right. And what is not right is not to accord our fellow Gambian citizens a comfort to make sure that they sleep in peace, knowing that tomorrow or 10 years from now or 60 years from now, another good for nothing will not come and do wrong to them. Gambia. St. Teresa School right here, Mr. Jao, he has taught many of you. Methodist Prep, Mrs. Gibson, Mrs. Peacock, has taught many of you. Mrs. Clark at Wesley has taught many of you. And never once did they force you to read a scripture, the Bible, or anything. They wanted a society that was progressive, or is progressive, sorry. And in so doing, they taught Christians and non-Christians alike. So today, it's also our responsibility as Gambians, and we must be duty-bound to foster and propagate more of this progressive society. And the best way we can do it, because this is what we have power over, because most likely this will go to a referendum. And I'm urging all of you, progressive Gambians, to come out and promote the ideal of that clause opening up the Constitution by it reading, Gambia is a secular sovereign republic. It doesn't cost none of you a dime. The people who are scared of it are the people who are not progressive. Progressive Gambians will never be scared of the words, Gambia is a sovereign secular republic. Because it's never cost us a penny, and it will never cost us our pennies, our livelihoods, or our religious beliefs. We are failing this country. And the reason why we are failing this country, we are bothered about mundane issues. We are bothered about issues that are not going to add nothing towards the greater good of this society. We must build a country where church and state have a divergence, not convergence. We have seen what the fusion of church and state has done to the Gambia during Yahya Jammeh days. And those very imams, and by the way, the church never played into the hands of politicians. It was us, the Muslims, and our clerics that played into the hands of the politicians, and they are still playing into the hands of the politicians. Banjul Muslim elders must not be a religious organization. It must be a social organization if they want to keep it. Because within the Christian community, there are elders, and those elders care about the well-being and what's happening within the city limits of Banjul. And if we're talking about the promotion of the city, the elders of the community that are of different faiths must be invited. And that's why we need to do away with these religious groupings when it comes to socio-political issues. Let religion be in its own place where it belongs, in our house, in our mosque, and in what we want. When it comes to building this nation, we should think as Gambians. And like I said, the church has done a good job staying within the confines of the church. I have never seen a cleric, a Christian cleric, be it a priest, be it a father, that has been insulted by our politicians, especially President Jammeh, because they stayed where they belong, in their pulpits. Unfortunately, ours, the Muslims, I'm sorry to say, but I will say we, our clerics, have prostituted themselves, and by extension, us, the people that they represent, by belittling themselves and playing politics. It was not long ago, this past Sunday, we saw our clerics once again going to political rallies. It's not helping our image. And these are things we need to stop. And these are things we as Gambians need to shun where and whenever we see them. Like I said, I am a Muslim, but that's my problem. My own auntie, Auntie Mary Langley, Njie, is a Christian. She doesn't look down on me, and I don't look down on her, and that's not what puts us together. It's blood ties. And this constitution that's bringing all of us together, it's looking at our nationality, and that's the flaw. It doesn't want to go beyond our nationality. Having said that, religion should not play a role or a part in that constitution, and the word secular, it's not a favor when we put it out there for our Christian brothers and sisters. It's a comfort, and the majority must always try and accommodate the minority, and the best way to accommodate the minority is to put a comfort that will make sure that no despot in the future. We are not building the constitution just for 2020, 2060. We're building the constitution for millennials to come, if this world is still going to be here. Therefore, we are duty bound to make sure that we learn from our past. And learning from our past has shown us that a fool like Yahya Jammeh has brought religion in the forefront of governance. And that has put a whole group of people in harm's way, called Christians, Catholics, and agnostics. Therefore, we, the majority, are duty bound to say this will not happen again. And the best way we can say it will not happen again is to do what is right. And doing what is right is putting Gambia where it belongs. And where Gambia belongs is for Gambians. Our religion, let that be our problem, but it should not be our collective problem. I want all of us to just reflect for a minute. Do we want to be divided into religious lines? The answer is no. Do we want our religion to be prominent over other religions in our country? The answer is no, because religion is not what binds us together, it's our nationality. Do we want Gambia to gain prominence? The answer is yes. Do we want Gambians to gain prominence and the welfare of Gambians to be the interest of all of us? The answer is yes. Therefore, let us be blind in our national dispensation to have religion being surfaced or being displayed out there. Our religion is our problem, and we should not. And on the issue of having religious buildings in public spaces, I detest it, and I'm a Muslim, by the way. I detest that, not because I'm less of a Muslim than the cleric who tends to advocate for spaces to be provided. I believe that religion should not be mixed with politics, and religion should not be mixed with government. But government must at all times recognize the existence of religion and give it the right respect it deserves. And that's why we have our holidays. That's why, in as much as we want church and state to be separate, the Qadi system is allowed so that us Muslims can have some of our rites and rituals be not only accepted but practiced. And it's paid for by Christians, mind you. And I have never seen a Christian, like I said, who complained that they don't want the Qadi system in what we have. They've never complained. So therefore, that shows the tolerance of the Christians amongst us. But we also should make sure we give them what's theirs. Babulinar, who is watching right now, knows what I'm saying, and that's Bala Jahumpa. Bala knows the Bible in and out thanks to the schools that he was sent to as a kid. And his parents were never prejudiced for him and others going to such schools. That's the Gambia we knew, and that's the Gambia we must foster, and that's the Gambia we must protect. And in protecting that Gambia, we should have instruments that are very, very explicit. We don't want gray areas. We don't want tomorrow people to open a line within the Constitution for interpretation. Let's put it in black and white. And putting it in black and white must state that Gambia is a secular, sovereign republic. It costs nothing to all of us. Gambia, you know Boka. And no one Gambian is more Gambian than the other Gambian. Therefore, in our constitution, to not only guarantee, but explicitly put it out there so that no bigot or religious person tomorrow will come and say otherwise. That's what we want, and that's what I expect from all of us. Gambians tend to forget easily, but we must not forget the role that the church has played in making us who we are today collectively as a society. The church has put in considerable resources educating non-Christians. And I tell you the hypocrisy within us. The church has what you call prison fellowship. You go to the prison, they take care of prisoners. They even help families of people who are incarcerated. And mind you, when the going was tough for our Imam, Baba Lee, the church was around and the mosque were around. I will start with the central mosque in Banjul and the Imam Ratib of Banjul. He didn't take a dime to Baba Lee's house. It was the church who took money to Baba Lee's house, and Baba Lee is around to attest to this fact. His family is around to attest to this fact. And Bishop Telewa Johnson of blessed memory, even went to see the Imam of Banjul that we must go and see the president and talk to him about the fate of Baba Lee. He declined. So let's stop this hypocrisy. Let's call a spade a spade. Nyun, the people of this country, must make sure that religion is not part of our body politics and religion is not part of our governance architecture as a country. And the best way to put it is to close the door for religion to have space in our governance, and it's called secular. That's the only word that will close the door, throw the key into the mighty ocean or the river Gambia. Never will the word religion appear or be a part of our daily lives as Gambians. Let us not raise hell over this little word. Let us just, for the interest of our collective good, just put the word secular and move on with our lives. I think we should worry about hunger. We should worry about healthcare. We should worry about education. We should worry about corruption. We should worry about many issues, and the least of our worries must be the word secular. It's not a harmful word. It doesn't have a virus. Matter of fact, it promotes liberalism. Matter of fact, it promotes a cohesive society. Matter of fact, it promotes the ideals of having national identity called Gambians, because the word secular closes the door for any other thing to surface. Show me one family from Banjul who doesn't have a cousin, auntie, uncle, or an in-law that is of a people of another faith. We don't hate them, we love them, we embrace them, and they have embraced us over the years. So why are we acting so intolerant to the word secular? Like I said, it costs nothing, but it's now costing us our dignity and gratitude. Because if we're gracious enough, we should think about the schools that open their doors to us, the St. Joseph's, the Methodist schools, the Wesley schools, and made us who we are today. For the sake of gratitude, let's do right to our conscience first. For the sake of gratitude, let's do right to country. And doing right to country is doing right to each and every countryman and woman. You cannot love your country if you don't love your neighbor. And if you love your neighbor, you respect the diversity. If you respect the diversity, you protect that diversity. And in protecting that diversity is cementing the word in our constitution, and that word is called secularism. And to all the clerics who have said bad stuff about me, to the point that I have listened to an audio by a renowned Gambian, a Gambian cleric for that matter. He fell short of calling me an infidel, but he is no more of a Muslim than I am. Probably he has a bigger turban and a bigger gown, which honestly I care less about. It's not what we manifest outward. It's what we have in us. And our faith is ourself. It's our issue. It's our personal issue. It's not for the public to know, and it's not what makes us. This country is for Gambians. It's not for Muslims or Christians or agnostics. It's for Gambians. And since it's for Gambians, let's just stop there. Our religion, let that be our problem. Let our religion be our problem, but let it not be our collective bridge. Religion should not divide us. Even I am not, I'm not well versed in the Quran, but there's a surah, even God said in Surah Al-Kafirun, Lakum dinikum waliya din. And even, the Tubaba said, each to his own. So religion should not be the Gambia's problem, and religion should not be something that's going to divide us. Religion should just be that thing that we should not worry about. Like I said earlier, if a Dominic Mendy comes tomorrow, win the election and becomes the president under Citizen Alliance, if he happens to build a church in the State House, there will be an uproar. Gambians will be fretting. Gambians will be shouting and screaming. And that's why we should make public places religion neutral. If we want prayer rooms, we put prayer rooms. But we should not openly build a church or a mosque in any of our public spaces. What we need in our public spaces are gardens, places where people can sit, walkways. We can have lanes, bicycle lanes in our public spaces. That's what Gambians want. Not putting buildings, mosques, churches. I think we have an issue here. The Gambian, we're in denial. The denial is we tend to be holier than thou, and we are not that holy ourselves. Let us just look at the mirror and look at the sins we commit on a daily basis. Let's do away with religion. All this religious paraphernalia we are pushing and propagating, it's not helping anybody. I am a Gambian, and that's where it stops. I will never want my public funds to go and identify who is a Muslim, a Christian, a Wolof, a Serahule, a Manjago. That's very irrelevant. What's relevant is the nationality we all share. And that should be the lowest common denominator we ever want to divide ourselves in. The moment we say we're Gambian, we will take care of each other and our Gambian-ness that binds us collectively. So to those who are fighting the word secular to be embedded into our sacred document called our Constitution, I say check yourself. If you check yourself, you will know that that word is not harmful. But ignorance and intolerance are becoming the order of the day, not only in the new Gambia, but the way the Gambian is being formed in today's Gambia. Religion and religious overtones and overtures are really shaping our mindsets, our emotions, and our orientation. We must be bigger than that. And I do hope, as Gambians, we think beyond religion. Let's worry about our taxes, because when now it goes off, it just doesn't go off in the Muslim home, it goes into the Christian home. It doesn't only go off in the Wolof home, it goes in the Mandinka home. So at the end of the day, when now it goes off in the Gambian household. So therefore, let us not be sensitive about the word, or insensitive rather, about the word secular. It's not a bad word. And those who are preaching you are preaching you to make you be fearful, make you scary. I mean, we have cohabited here for over 140, 170 years within what we call modern Gambia. This is pre-independence to date. The Akus came from Sierra Leone with their religion. They lived with us. We have uncles and aunts who who practice those religions, and we've never had a problem. I've never seen a church and a mosque fighting. But today, churches even want to build new churches in certain neighborhoods. It's a problem. And guess what? Our noise pollution by our mosque every morning, waking up our Christian brothers, and we are not hearing people complaining. We are complaining. Why? Why so? God loved those that love themselves, and love thy neighbor as you love yourself. And if we do so, Gambia will be a nice place to live, Gambia will be a prosperous place, and Gambia will be very progressive. See, conservatism is not helping. Liberalism is what's going to take any country, not only Gambia, but any country forward. I therefore urge Gambians to be very tolerant and liberal. Your religion is your problem. Do what you want. Other people, let them do what they want. But what we own collectively, let us make sure everyone see themselves fully, everyone see themselves represented the manner in which they want, not the way others want. In Gambia, no one is a minority. Everyone is a majority because we are all Gambians. If we have that attitude and mentality, we will go a long way. There is no minority. That's the way we should think. There is no minority in Gambia because everyone is a Gambian. The moment we say that everyone is a Gambian, then no one is less than the next person. But the moment we say this is a Muslim, a Christian, a Fula, and a Mandinka, we start having minorities and majorities. And that's not the Gambia we want. We want a Gambia for Gambians, by Gambians, for Gambians. And the only way that can happen, if we all see ourselves as this block of people called Gambians, and we find a way to love this group called Gambians. And in that group, everyone is an equal. And where everyone is an equal, no one is a minority. It's a state of mind. And that's the state of mind we need to put in our minds, put in the minds of the young ones, and make sure we foster and promote that type of country. I am proud to say that I want the word secular to be not inbuilt in our constitution, but to be cast in stone, so that there is no ambiguity or room for interpretation 100 years from now. If we do that, we have done justice to Gambia. If we haven't done that, we haven't done justice to our country. So that was one issue I wanted to address. The other issue that I really want to talk about is the issue of 3 years judgment. I, Njie, I am not a member of 3 years judgment, nor am I a sympathizer of 3 years judgment. But I have a philosophy that I believe in. The President of the Republic of the Gambia, President Adama Barrow, is duty-bound to be morally upright and legally compliant. Morally upbound, meaning he should not fool Gambians. He should not take Gambians for a ride. He should not tell us something we cannot do. Equally, I want him to understand that he has a full backing of the law to be here for the next 2 years. And I don't want anything to disturb that. I respect his mandate because I respect my constitution. My constitution gives him a mandate for 5 years. And please, let's respect that for him. But in respecting that, I want President Adama Barrow, when he put his head on his pillow, to just listen to his conscience and hear what candidate Adama Barrow, candidate, not president, candidate Adama Barrow sold to us, the people of this country. He said, I don't want to be a lifetime president. And not only that, I don't want to be a lifetime president. I want to serve the transition, which was 3 years. But unfortunately, the reason why I think he needs to finish his mandate, structurally, we don't have the things in place to hold an election, and God forbid. I'd rather have him than have the vice president, because at least he is elected. So let him serve the full 5-year mandate. But after serving it, he should be gracious enough to Gambians, gracious, that we have made him for life. Because Adama Barrow was just like an ordinary Gambian like Njie. But after December 1st, he is no longer an ordinary Gambian. He is an extraordinary Gambian. Because even if he stayed in power for 1 day, his name will be in our history books, number one. Number two, we have provided him with an income for the rest of his life till kingdom cometh. Meaning Gambia will take care of him till he dies. And we will give him and accord him the rights of what a statesman should be and must be. But if Gambia has given him all of this, he is now morally bound to respect the contract he had with the people. Adama Barrow has two contracts, a contract with our constitution, which all of us must respect and allow him his 5-year mandate to the dot. But equally, he made a moral contract with the Gambian. And that moral contract is or was the unique selling point or the value proposition he proposed to every Gambian that had a voter's card and decided to give him his vote. And today, if he can look at us in the face and tell us, you know, when you're politicking, you can say anything. Kon nak wàcc na andam digantem ak nit ñi. And this is not politics. I am not a politician, and I am not taking a political side. I am taking a moral side. That candidate made a pledge and a promise to Gambians. And that promise was, I, Adama Barrow, I want to do this. He was enforced. It was him who promised the people. The people, it was not a quid pro quo. We never said do this and we'll do that. No, he did it voluntarily. And in so doing, he must respect his word. He must honor his word, because his word is his bond. If he chooses to continue without honoring his word, we will equally accept it, but in accepting it, we will know that he is not a person worthy to be listened to. He told us, we accepted what he said in good faith. Gentle and dignified people do good faith contracts. Good faith contract means it need not even be written. Your word is your bond, and people will take your word because they believe you are what you say that you are. And the promise he gave us, the moment he said he is going to set up a political party, he has broken a covenant, a solemn covenant with the Gambian. And I think we will leave him with his conscience. We will leave him with his conviction. And now the Gambian des na ndax ñun tamit am nañ fula ak fayda for him to come back at a later date and say, can you please vote for me? That is when we should say a flat out no. But on the issue of 3 years, Jodna, I say no. Stay the course, Mr. President. But you have 24 months to rethink on the moral, the legal side. you stay the course to do your 5 years. But you have another 24 months, Mr. President, to rethink your conscience, your conviction, and the promise you gave to the people of the Gambia. If your word is worth your salt, you will come back and tell us. Thank you, Gambia, for giving me a lifetime opportunity that has transformed the person that was once candidate Adama Barrow to the president we know today as Adama Barrow. Gambia, Jerejef, because you have made me who I am, and I owe all of you a debt of gratitude. Then we will say, Adama Barrow, thank you so much for being there in our hour of need in removing Yahya Jammeh. But if you want to be belligerent and say you are going to stay, come what may, and do what you want, kon delo wulo narbi jukal te delo wulo ko xorom. And Mr. President, I believe you're a great person. I believe you're a man of conscience and you have convictions. So you have 24 months to rethink the position that you are trying to solidify today. Maybe with that rethink, you will come to the conclusion that you are a loved Gambian by your people, because we gave you all when you asked for all. And when we give you all, liko olof di waxe kuñ jox yeb du jël yeb te mag du ñiit bool. Kuñ jox yeb du jël yeb. We have given you all, Mr. President, and we have made you to be a statesman. We have made you to be an exemplary Gambian. We have made you to stand out of 2 million to be one. That special Gambian called President Barrow. Before you were President Barrow, you were just Adama Barrow doing your everyday thing. God chose you to be our savior with our help. We accepted you to be our savior because we wanted to cross a bridge called Yahya Jammeh. But before we crossed the bridge together with you, you told us, you guys have chosen me. This is not my calling nor my path. But for our country, Gambia, I will accept it. For what we are going through, I will accept it. But please, after 3 years, find someone to take this, because this is not me. I'm not cut out for this. We told you we will be there, and we're going there together with you. So, Mr. President, we cannot cross the bridge only to be held hostage by you. You should not. You should not allow Gambia to be held hostage. The interest of Gambia is greater than the sum total of your personal interests or any other Gambian. And therefore, if you think and put Gambia first, stay your whole mandate, Mr. President, to the last hour, and we shall, and we will, and we must celebrate you. Kon ñun ñu gàtt xel lu tax ñu gàtt xel dafa métti woon ba ngaa falu waaye yow tamit bu mu nee nga fàtte démba dañ la solal mbubi président ñun ñi génn a tànn la hôtel la ak lim la neexutoon yépp ak risque bi yépp nga nangu ko ñu gërëm la ci waaye nag bum neex yit ba nga ne dama seen ngoyal ba fu mu em bu neex yàlla bëggul loolu kàddu lu ñu war a sàmm la te góor kàddoom rek la am kon nag am nga ñaar fukki weer ak ñeneent nga xalaataat li nga bugga waaye day man laa wax de te suma bopp rek laay waxal di te bootuma kenn foog naa ni Gambia jox na la yépp defal na la yépp ilaarul yawmi diin ba abadan. President Adama Barrow will always be different from candidate Adama Barrow and the real talk and the man we used to know kon nag soo waxee jërëjëf Gambia ba pare Gambian si it dinañ jógaat ne la yow tamit jërëjëf Mr President Adama Barrow te buñ la waxee loolu it ba bés bi ngaa sàngoo suuf foo taxaw ci kaw ngaa taxaw ndaxte fi la Gambia yóbbu mu sori yóbbuloo sa boppa de ñun collective bi ñoo ñëw ñu yóbbu la fa waaye dafa am loo xam ne tamit dañ ko bugg a Mr President te tey dama bëgg a waxtaan yow si suma xol faruma bokkuma ànduma ak kenn Gambia laa àndal faruma bokkuma te ànduma ak kenn Gambia laa àndal Gambia dafa bugg a transformation sa liggéey sa rôle ci Gambia def nga ko te yow doo am one line di nga am chapter ci history dëkk bi bañ la soxlee ñëw nga you were counted and that's why you became number one te ñu nangul la ko dañ la war a nangul sa presidency waaye yow tamit nga nangul nit ñi ne dañ la indi woon for a purpose soo ñu ko defalee billaahi sa bopp nga ko defal soo ñu ko defalee yàlla nga ko defal te dimbale nga ñu cross bridge bi waaye fu mu nekk pilot lañ soxla and you're not an aviator kon nañ uti aviator mu yóbbul ñu foofu ñu naaw dem Mr President jërëjëf def nga lu bari sacrifice nga lu bari sa doom dee na nangu nañ ko waaye it li nga d'accord a nit ñi sooy tëdda nelaw xalaataat ko xëj na yàlla dina wécc sa xol waaye li la yàlla may ci Gambia kenn mënatut koo jël yàlla may na la ko te bindal nañ la ko ci suñ history books yi te daraja bi yaa moom la ba nga sàngoo suuf keneen du ko mën a jël soo understandee loolu rek di nga xam ne nii du loo pour nekkaat président for another term danga need to be an elder statesman ngay doxal dëkk bi di xalaatal dëkk bi di ñaanal dëkk bi waaye nag loolu sa diggante yàlla la boo ko deful kenn warul laa def dara dañ la ko war a nangul soo defut liñ yaakaar ci yow te nga d'accordoon koo ñun kenn waruta meer dañ la ko war a nangul waaye ci nangul bi tamit ñu xam yow yaay kan te suñ xamee yow yaay kan bés buñ delloo pour oote ñu seet ndax ñu nit ñàkk nañ fayda ñu ne politicien benn bés la am mooy bési oote sànnikati karta yi benn bés la am mooy bési oote kon nag lu waay neex def bu bés ba jotee mu xam waaye daal man Mr President fooguma ne nit ku bon nga waaye foog naa ne war ngaa waxtaan ak sa ngegenaay bu boobaa ñun ñépp we will all be winners. We want a situation where every Gambian is a winner. dañ bokkoon ak yow xeex nga def ci lu rafet ba xeex bi passé waaye nag bul nangu ñu gën laa gore ñun def nañ suñu waar yow def nga sa waar waaye li nga d'accordoon comme ni ma ko waxee du legal de kenn amul right pour ne la sa nguur na em loolu sa bos la yàlla la ko may jël ko waaye it sa kaddu sa diggante ak say nit muy ñun Gambien si jéemal nga sàmm ko soo ko defee rek ñun gën laa naw soo ko defee yàlla fay la soo ko defee jàppale sa dëkka te jàppale sa dëkka mooy luy xaaj sa dëkka bu ci nangoo bokka waaye luy féewalee sa dëkka bu ci nangoo bokka luy yóbbu sa dëkka kanam nga bokka si te billahi Mr President you are bigger than a president because dafa am fu mu métti woon nga ñëw nga jéngu yàlla def muy yow advice rek nga amut waaye doo nit ku bon te soo amee advice te advice mooy ki nga xam ne dina la xool ci bët te boobu du la ne your excellency daf la ne Adama ah lii nga waxoon de soo defee loolu dina dem fu sori xam nga li tax ma wax loolu dama xool Abdou Diouf bi mu jeexalee presidency, he was bigger than any African president. He was the president of Francophonie. yow it am nga wërsëg def lu bari for Africa, nekk an errand man for Africa, nekk a messenger for Africa, doxal Africa lu bari bul nangu kenn yaaxal la ko. loolu tax ma ne advice nga soxla, te advice bi nga soxla mooy kuy wax ak yow ci xolam, wax ak yow li gën ci yow te muy gën ci réew mi. Mr. President, def nga lu bari, te soo tabaxutoon benn tali sax jaarama, soo tabaxutoon benn bridge jaarama, waaye nag baara waruta mun a feey ba des ca géej. ñu ne ki eewu ci ñun mooy ki jonkoon mun a gis ci gannaaw xil. ki eewu wut nag ci ñun mooy ki nga xam ne li moo gis rek mooy li nekk ci kanamam. man de li ma wax sa 5 years yaa ko moom, jël ko bem jeex takk, waaye filee 5 years yi xalaatal naka nga tàggoo ak ñun ci jàmma ak ci ngor, ci jàmma ak ci ngor. bu fekkee ne loolu doyut la, am nga right de Mr. President, am nga right pour taxawaat, waaye nag booy taxaw na la óor ne saa yoo ñu gestoo nga eeji. moo ñu waxoon lii, he didn't do it, and that's what we don't want for you, Mr. President. We want you to be legally compliant, that is to serve your 5 years, but to be morally upright, to fulfill your promise to the people that gave you all and that translated to a mandate. And like I said, Mr. President, it's all about conscience. It's you and your God. If you choose to go with your conscience, God be with you. If you choose not to be going with your conscience, God be with you too. But you have hundreds of thousands of Gambians that you spoke to, and they accepted your value proposition when you were candidate Adama Barrow. And that value proposition was, give me this and I will do that. And reneging your promise today without due explanation to the people, I think tantamounts to something else. But God bless you. May God give you the courage and fortitude to rethink. May God give you the courage and fortitude to believe that you are just a transition to our future. And God has placed you at the right place at the right time to be the man who will save this country. So the choice is yours. And the Gambians must be very tolerant to you staying. No one should be angry. You have the right. No one should be angry. But in as much as you have the right, rethink your moral obligation to the public. Most amongst us don't believe that we should use our conscience. But our conscience must be our guide. Our national anthem states otherwise. It said, let justice guide our action. And if justice is guiding our action, we must all fold our hands and allow you your 5-year term to the fullest. But equally, let your moral compass and your conscience be your guide with what you decided and sold to your people. Your people loved you. That's why they gave you what they gave you. Showing them love is honoring your word. On that note, Gambia, I thank you all. And I will remind each and every Gambian that we should work hard and make sure that the word secular is added into our constitution if we believe in our social cohesiveness as a nation. I, Nyang, went to Methodist prep. I was well taken care of by Mrs. Peacock, Mrs. Gibson, Mr. Tebbs, Mr. Warner, Mrs. Cecilia Cole, you name it. They never forced religion on me, and I think because of that, a lot of us are being able here today to be productive citizens of this country. To whom much is given, much is expected, and I, Njie, endorse and support the inclusion explicitly of the word secular in our constitution, and particularly in the first paragraph, where it should state that Gambia is a secular sovereign republic. If we do that, we have done justice to us. For the Gambia, our homeland, I, Njie, will forever remain true. Thank you so much. God bless you. God bless Gambia. And let us always speak truth to power and do what's right, because we owe it to country. Us doing the chatter and murmur in our rooms, in our homes, in our bantabas is not helping. What is helping is for us to stand up and be counted and be our brothers and sisters keepers. And in being our brothers and sisters keepers, we will create a cohesive Gambia. In creating a cohesive Gambia, we create a peaceful environment. In creating a peaceful environment, we create a progressive country. In creating a progressive country, we will then all prosper. And prosperity is what we want. Thank you, and God bless you all. And I love Gambia.